Okay, what I have here is a 2007 Jeep Commander with a 3.7 liter engine. A guy brought it to me with check engine light for the catalytic converter efficiency on bank 1. It does seem to be switching just as fast practically on bank number 2. But I found out it had worn plugs, and in the process of removing the coils, one of the bolts just kind of spun, and turned out that one of the stud bolts is broken in the intake manifold. It looks like this, yeah, so I had to take this intake manifold off because the broken bolt was on the bank 1 side with the of the catalytic converter, so I figured I have a vacuum leak that might be going on. So in the process of removing the intake manifold, there's a PCV tube that routes, it kind of goes through the intake underneath here. This here goes under here, and the clamp doesn't lend its the clamp that you gotta get off the PCV valve in the corner is angled in such a way it does not conducive to removal. So I had to tried to twist and manhandle the thing to get the clamp in a position. I ended up cracking the tube, or actually the elbow and the tube. The tube had a crack, or the elbow had a tube crack in it, and then I cracked the tube trying to get it off. But the replacement tube, when I got the replacement tube, I think it's made in Mexico, and you know, I initially thought some Mexican didn't know how to bend the taco the correct way, and thought it was bent wrong, but it was me, the gringo, not doing the thing very well, and the tube is just routed differently. It just goes over the intake plenum like that, and it's no big deal. I was about to take a heat gun and try bending it, and then if I had to, I would have joined the original tube with a piece of rubber hose or something in the middle. But thankfully I had enough sense to try to route it over the top, and it worked out just fine. So no longer do you need the original tube that mounts underneath the intake. And before you do this intake job, you're not going to be able to get that intake off unless you actually drop this engine down a couple inches. You got to remove these big through bolts that hold the engine mount to the brackets underneath, and then lower the engine down. So a floor jack underneath or whatever, the oil pan. This thing already looks like the oil pan is leaking on it, or you know, it might be the rear main, but I took the PCV valve out, which is in that corner there, right over here, right there. There's a clamp, and the clamp does not spin on that elbow. It's like kind of like welded to the fucking plastic or the rubber, pain in the butt to get to rotate. But anyway, it might work better. Disconnect that side on, disconnect the passenger side elbow there, and then take that thing, that revised tube, and then you can spin it to the side, and then get access to the clamp. You take the tube and then swing it this way, you know, and then you can get at the clamp back there. But anyway, I hope this helps somebody. Get the throttle body wiring and all that. I have to re-tube it with some conduit, wiring conduit tubing. Same here. The tubing is disintegrating. This breaks. Want to cover that up with some kind of tubing. Same here. But anyway, hope this helps somebody. You gotta take the intake plenum off, or the intake manifold. You gotta take the belt off. You gotta take the alternator, the compressor off, and you gotta lower the engine. Take those engine bolts, and you get enough thing. One thing that was a pain in the butt was those little 8mm head PGR tube bolts. Gotta get that out, and then everything it's pretty easy. Get these. Be careful. Those things, these hoses, get attached to these things are stuck on there pretty good. Yeah. Say to make the sign of the cross before you use the pry bar. All right. Good luck, everybody.